Welcome back, everybody. Let us talk about the New York Mets 2020 season. See what they can do to maybe make the playoffs. See what they can do. But first, let's talk about what they accomplished last year. Last year, they finished 86 and 76. They were 10 games above 500. They were third in the NL East behind the Braves and the Nats. Um, they had a really good, they had a good starting rotation last year. What really sucked with them was their bullpen was inconsistent, and they kind of still have the same bullpen from last year. So we'll see how it goes through this year. I think goal for them this year is they got to make the playoffs. I think they got the talent. It's just at this point got to make the playoffs. Key additions, they got a couple big guys, and then a couple depth guys. Some of the biggest guy they got was Dallin Batanzas, who missed I think a lot, if not most, of last year with I think a shoulder injury or an elbow injury. I don't necessarily remember, but he wasn't playing baseball last year with the Yankees. So he was a free agent. The Mets signed him to pretty essentially a private contract, a team friendly deal. So, and when Dellen's on, he's a hard throwing, right handed pitcher that's probably going to be a nice setup man to probably Edwin Diaz. Um, and like I said, he's getting paid. He's not hurting the Mets with that contract, so they can still go out and get somebody if they need to. They also got Rick Porcello, a nice starting pitcher who is essentially going to probably be the replacement for Zach Wheeler. Porcello didn't have a great year last year, but he's a really good pitcher, especially he won 20 games with the Red Sox. I think 2018 was the year he won. That was the year he won the Cy Young for the American League. So he's really good. He's proved it. It's just can he bounce back from last year's disappointing season? Um, they also signed Michael Wacha as a free agency. Wacha, he's been his problem is inconsistency, or his problem is consistency. He's not as consistent, and we're gonna have to see if Wacha can finally strike gold like he did in St. Louis 2014-15 season. Those 2 years where he was just lights out, really good. So, with Betances, a team friendly contract, so that helps them out there. Uh, then you get to, and then you got Jake Marisnick, who they got in a trade with the Astros. Now Marisnick, he's not a good, he's not a great batter. He's a decent batter, but where he makes his money is his defense. His defense is remarkable, and especially when you're playing center field, you kind of need speed and defense, and that is two things that Marisnick excels in: is his speed and his defense. So he's going to be able to patrol center field out there. Nice if the Mets start him in center. Um, they also got Matt Adams. Now these last two moves are just bench pieces, I think, because Matt Adams is not going to take over first base over Pete Alonso. He's going to be more of a lefty bat, maybe coming off the bench. And Matt Adams can hit homers. He can hit the ball far. So that's a good move. Get a nice guy on the bench that can, um, that if you need to throw in against a right-hander, Adams is well worth it, I think. I also got Eduardo Nunez from free agency. Now with Nunez, he's a utility guy. He can play pretty much every position on the diamond. Infield wise, he might be able to play a little bit of outfield. I'm not necessarily certain he wants to, but I think he can. Um, so that's not a. I think Mets did a good job in free agency. They got pieces that they needed to. They got two good to great starting pitchers. They got a lights out reliever, and then they got a really decent center fielder and a couple bench guys. So they didn't do bad in free agency. Their key losses for in the offseason, they really only lost one guy, and that was Zach Wheeler, who they just couldn't. He didn't. Either the Mets didn't give him enough money for the contract, or he just didn't want to be on the Mets anymore. He's no longer on the team, and what sucks for Mets fans is that he goes right down the road to the Phillies in division. So you're gonna have to see him probably 4 or 5 times a year. So getting Wheeler would have helped that rotation, but I think the pieces they got back without Wheeler, I think are completely fine. If they were to pay Wheeler what the Phillies paid him, which I think was $80 million, they probably wouldn't have got Betances. They probably wouldn't have got Porcello and Walker. So you got to kind of look at the pros and cons of keeping Wheeler. If they kept Wheeler, they wouldn't have got three of their top six guys in free agency. So I think it was, as of right now, I think it was a good move letting Wheeler walk. I think stuff to look for this year, stuff and players to watch for is, can Edwin Diaz come back? Can he have a comeback type season? His first year in New York was not good. It was not good at all. He had a down year. He was blowing games. He was starting to be called Ed Lose Diaz from some people. So, just a rough year for him. And can he bounce back this year? Because he's the closer. They're paying him to be the closer. He's going to be the closer no matter how bad he struggles, probably. So, maybe this year he can bounce back and not blow what seems like 15 games. I don't think he blew 15 games, but that's sure what it seemed like. Because every time that the Mets had a 1 or 2 run lead in the bottom of the ninth and you saw Edwin Diaz jogging out to the mound, you're thinking, how are we going to blow this now? How are the Mets going to blow this game? And on some of the occasions, they found ways to blow the games. But I think Diaz will have a comeback type season. I hope for his sake and Mets fans. I think who's going to play center field is another thing to watch out for, especially through spring training. Because, I mean, right now you have Brandon Nimmo and you got Jake Marisnick. And Nimmo's a nice lefty bat. Struggled last year in his, 300 plate appearances, I think, 200 plate appearances. He had like a 220 batting average. And, I mean, Marisnick's definitely a better fielder than him. And he's faster than him, I think. What Nimmo has over Marisnick is Nimmo's lefty. Nimmo's a left-handed bat. So, I think they'll probably start Marisnick in center. That's what I would do anyway. But I'm thinking through spring training, I assume there's going to be a center field position battle of who's going to play. And then, like I said, I think Marisnick's going to play. And piggybacking off the Diaz one I said a couple seconds ago is, what's the bullpen going to look like? Because piggybacking off Diaz, that bullpen was not great last year. And they kind of have the same bullpen. I mean, you got Diaz as your closer. Seth Lugo had a pretty good year. Dellin Betances is hoping to have a comeback type season. Jeurys Familia's spotty. Justin Wilson, nice lefty arm. Not somebody you can most likely rely on for most of the season. They re-signed Brad Brock in free agency, so that's nice. And I mean, Robert Zellman, who's probably a long reliever, middle reliever, more than anything. And I think they're going to be, the bullpen's probably going to be their biggest issue throughout the year, if it's anything like last year, which all signs are pointing to most likely, yeah, because they really didn't address the bullpen issue. They only signed Betances. So that's going to be a thing to watch out for stuff. Now, players to look for, I think it's Jed Lowrie going to play this year. He really didn't play much last year. He was hurt. He was not good. Lowrie was hurt all to most of last year. When he did play, he wasn't batting well. His defense isn't great. And, I mean, it's him and Bobby Cano are the second baseman on their depth chart. So, and they're paying Lowrie big bucks for what he did in that 1 year in Oakland. So, hoping for Lowrie, he can come back and prove himself to the Mets fans, because he really hasn't done that yet. And Robbie Cano is getting paid all this money, and he's on the waning years of his career. He's not batting really that well. So maybe, unless they decide, I don't know how they're gonna, because McNeil's playing third, so they can't play him at second. So it's pretty much between Cano and Lowrie of who's gonna play second. And like I said, Cano's on the waning years of his career. I don't know how well he's gonna do for the whole 162 game season. And I think the other guy to look out for is Pete Alonso. I mean, he hit 53 home runs last year, set the NL rookie record. I think, or MLB record for rookies. I'm not certain. I think it's MLB and NL rookie record. But freaking, we're gonna see how Alonso does in his sophomore year. Maybe is there gonna be a little bit of a slump? He started to hit a little bit of a slump last year after the All-Star break. He's obviously the star on that team. Is Alonso and DeGrom. Those are the two stars. And I think Alonso is going to be a nice piece in the middle of the order that can hit 40 plus homers a year. We're going to see if he can do that this year, though. I think my guess for the Mets are, I think my guess where the Mets are going to place this year is probably a fringe wild card team. They weren't that many games out of the second wild card spot last year, and I don't see them overtaking the Braves in that division. And I don't see him overtaking the Nationals in that division, because the bullpen with the Mets is still the problem. That's the big deal. Is when you, like I said in the Dodgers video, when you can put up 5-6 runs, that's nice. But when your bullpen gives up a 3-run lead or 4-run lead in the bottom of the ninth, that's demoralizing every single day when that happens, or when it does happen. And it's not great for the team and not great for the morale of the players that go 4 for 4, 3 for 3 with 3 homers, and you lose the game. So I think they're probably going to be a fringe wild card team. They could. They usually start off the season strong, usually, and then they just go into a slump that lasts a month and a half, it seems like. Their slumps last forever. But that's the end of the video. If you guys liked it, press the like button, subscribe down below, that'd be greatly appreciated. Share this video with all your friends and buddies, and I will see you guys in the next one.